Come, Rishita, come.
All right.
Yes, our music director is here.
Okay, I'm going to.
Yeah, I'm going mute. Please start.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aditi. Thank you so much.
Which kind of song is it? Actually, it is like very good. Pardon? Like which kind of tune it is? It's a piano tune by Yuruma. The River Flows in You. Okay.
What are you good? Thank you, Aditi. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay. Now, Srinika, ఏం చెప్తున్నావు ఈరోజు? What are you telling today?
Ramu and Somu.
Can I tell a story?
Let's start with Srinika. తర్వాత నువ్వు, ఓకేనా?
Okay, uncle.
Okay, Srinika, start.
Okay. So this is a story which I made by my own. In this,
Riddhi, you are telling the story. Okay, fine. I thought Srinika is telling the story.
okay. So once there was a girl who didn't like school. So she said to her mother, "Mother, I do not want to go to school today. Can I please stay on home?" Her mother said, "Are you sure you don't want to go to school?" "Yes," she said. "But why won't you go to school?" She said because she didn't like it. There was too much to study. Her mother included. You also got friends there and you also play games. She said, "Still, I do not want to go to school." Her mother then said, "All right, if you wish." She said, "Yeah, I won't go to school. I will tell it to my friends." But then her mother said, "No, you can't. As I said, you mentioned friends there. So you cannot play any games because you learn games from school and you cannot go to your friends because they must be probably on school." Her mother said, she was very sad. She cried. but there was nothing to do. She didn't want to study, so she was there watching the TV the whole day. But who can watch the TV the whole day? Many things are there which you don't want to watch. So she sat there alone. She was thinking of what period was in the school, how much fun she used to have with her friends even though she had to study. So she went on. Her mother was in the kitchen because it was afternoon. She was preparing the lunch. She said to her mother, "Mother, this is the second half. I will go to school." Her mother said, "No, you won't go to school as you didn't want to go to school. You have to go to school tomorrow, not even in the second half. The teacher might ask you." So she was sad. Her mother also said, if you want to go to school, then you have to get up early, and next time do not complain anything. Also tell me how was the review of the day this night. And in night she said, "Mom, I was very sad today. You were right. School might be a little bit of studying, but it also has friends and fun. School is what I must have gone to. School will teach me how to become better." Her mother said, "Good, you got your lessons. So, good night. Thank you."
You wrote the story, Riddhi?
Yes.
What is the title of the story?
The worst day ever.
The worst day ever. Oh my God! So the worst day ever is the day you didn't go to school.
My sister made a rapping song for this because I said I wanted it to be a sketch, but we didn't get much time. I wrote in class 4.
No, you have it somewhere. You wrote it on digital.
Yes, but the diary which I wrote it and is gone missing.
That's okay. You remember it. You can write it again.
Actually, this is really happening with all of us. Like for Ramnath Secondary School children, it is happening.
Oh, the other school
The
children.
teacher asks, "Do you like the school or not?" And we always say I want to go.
You want to go? Of course. After 1.5 years, everybody wants to go.
In the starting, it was okay, but it became too much.
Okay, Aditya, I hear you. Let's hope the corona comes down and school reopens. Okay, thank you, Riddhi. Thank you so much. Now, Srinika, are you ready?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Srinika. Today, I'm going to say the story about Ram and Somu. Once upon a time, there lived 2 boys named Ramu and Somu. They are neighbors. Ramu just always study, but Somu doesn't. So one day, Ramu's parents told him that Ramu is studying. Somu was very angry. He threw all Ramu's books in a bag. Ramu doesn't know that where is his books. So Ramu every day studied, so he got good marks. So Somu went to Ramu and said, "How do you got first rank and marks? You don't have books, right?" But so Ramu said, "I studied every day. That's why I have good marks." Somu failed, so this time he studied. The end.
Oh, short story.
See you soon.
Everybody, today, good evening, everybody. Today I am going to say a story. The title of my story is The Missing Cloud. Once upon a time, there lived a farmer. One day, the farmer took his plough to his friend's place town to repair his plough. When he returned to his village, he realized that he left his plough. After a few days, his friend sold his plough. When he came to his friend's house, he asked the plough. His friend said, "Mice has eaten the plough." Then his, his, the farmer realized that his friend was lying, but he did not say anything. He returned to his village. So one day he went to his friend's town and asked, "Can I take your son to the river?" His friend said, "Okay, you can take your son to the river." So the farmer took his son to the river. On there, he took his friend's son to the river. On the way to the river, his friend's son, he kept his friend's son in a nearby house, and he returned to his friend's house all alone. And his friend asked, "Where is my son?" And the farmer said, "While I was swimming, a big bird came and took your boy." And his friend said, how can a bird take a small boy?" And the farmer said, How can mice eat the plough?" So the farmer's friend realized his mistake and said sorry to him and gave him the plough. And the farmer gave him, and his friend gave him the plough, and the farmer gave him his son. So the moral of the story is, if you do bad to others, you will suffer badly.
Thank you, Dhruvan. Nice story. So, Dhruvan, which class are you in now?
I'm in third class, sir.
Srinika?
Second.
Not PP2. She's in PP2.
What is PP2?
UKG she's in. I
I don't believe. Teenagers
He's
must be.
He's gonna turn 5 this year.
But the
And
way.
I'm excited to be 8.
What?
She's in UKG and I'm in third class.
But the way Srinika narrates stories looks like she's also in third class. Right, Srinika?
No, sir. But she hears stories or reads books like me. I also read books and learn them.
Or UKG?
But her mother told a story, and she realized and she wanted to tell the story.
No, I'm just kidding. Of course, and I'm sure in UKG I don't even know words. Now she's telling stories. Very good. Thank you so much. Yeah, moving on. Harshit, you want to narrate a story?
Okay, sir.
Uncle. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Now I am going to tell a story. The title of my story is The Two Frogs with the Same Problem. Once upon a time, a group of frogs roaming around the forest in search of water. Suddenly, two frogs
fell into a deep pit. The other frogs were telling, "You cannot come out of that pit because it was so deep." The two frogs tried to jump out of the pit, but they could not jump out of the pit. Then one of the fro- one of the two frogs one of the two frogs listened to believed his friends and thought and I cannot come out of the pit. Then he think that then he think that then he think that he may have to die. Then the other frog didn't listen, and then he jumped so high that he came out of the pit. The other frogs were encouraged and and were shocked. The the difference between the two frogs is the second frog Billy, must the second frog was deaf and could not hear. He thought that they are cheating him. So the moral of the story is believe in yourself. Thank you.
Good story. And don't listen to false comments.
What, sir?
No, the moral is right.
What?
You keep it moral right, Antonanda. Whatever you said is right. Sometimes you don't have to listen to false comments. You have to ignore those comments. Right? If somebody says you can't do it, you can't do it, you should not listen to it. Okay, Ian just left. Okay, Ian just left. Okay. Sarwan, you want to start? Thank you, Harshit.
Uncle, I just need a bit time.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Anisha, you have something? Story, song, anything?
Yeah, I think I have a story. So, this story is basically an incident which happened to me in third grade. So, that was like 6 years ago. But it's still very much fresh in my mind. So, during an exam, people look up for inspiration, that is to God. People look down in desperation, that is to the exam paper. And look right and left for information, which I don't think I need to explain. So, real incidents which happen in life sometimes become stories. And one such incident actually changed my perspective towards life. Honesty is the best policy, is what we all believe. But a moment when honesty overwhelmed conceit, betrayal, and egotism was a divine experience. So, I was the best speller in my third grade class. Everyone knew it. I could spell difficult words without batting an eye. Perfect scores beamed upon me after each weekly spelling test. Our teacher had some strict rules for the test. Believe it or not, if you didn't get at least 60% correct, You had to write each word 30 times before the test next week. That didn't bother me because, I was the best. Riddhi, the girl who sat next to me, was not what you would call the sharpest tool in the shed. She struggled for C's in every subject, including spellings. So on that fateful day, when our teacher passed back our papers, I sneaked a glance at Riddhi's sheet. Oh, she got 36%. I now knew that she would have to write each word 30 times, and there was no exception. Next week was the final test of the day. I was so confident, or to put in the correct perspective, I was overconfident in my spelling abilities. I was 100% sure that there was no need for me to practice for the test. As our teacher slowly mouthed each word and then repeated it, the silence was broken only by furious pencil scratching until she spoke again. The next word, handkerchief. As I rapidly put pencil to paper, I stopped. My mind was raging as I scribbled HANDKERCH. Wait, now was it IEF or EIF? My mind was blank. I had to think quickly. The teacher was about to move on to the next word. Then it hit me. Riddhi for sure would know how to spell. She must have written each word 30 times. There was no way she would forget them. Riddhi had put her pencil down. It was a wide open road from my eyes to her paper. And my eyes rolled to the right. There it was, spelled out in Riddhi's crawling handwriting. My eyes quickly went back to my own paper, and I finished the word with the letters IEF, which was correct. I remained tense as ma'am read out the last few spelling words. My stomach was in knots, my mind was racing, and my hands were sweating. I had just cheated for the first time in my life. But was this the correct way I want to keep my perfect record? I erased what I'd written earlier and replaced it with what I knew was the wrong answer, EIF. As my sweaty hands released my pen and paper and passed the test to the front, I heaved a big sigh of relief. I held my head up high as I saw my less than perfect test passed on. So what if my perfect score was no longer intact? At least my honesty was. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. I know you told me that it's a real experience. You should pen it down somewhere. Can you do that?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Yeah,
Thank
please share it in our group once you do that.
Definitely, I'll do that. Thank you.
The introduction you wrote, you see up for the God, down for
Desperation. Down in desperation.
right and left for
Information.
that's really right and left for information. Very well. Very well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Ayan, you are missing. You ready? Our dear storyteller?
Yeah.
Yes, start.
I'll just again join from laptop. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. I am Ayan. The title of my story is The Delicate Queens. So long ago, there lived King Yashketu. He was the ruler of Nepal. He had 3 wives. So one day, he was taking a walk in his royal garden with her first queen named Mayavati. So Mayavati wore a flower on her hairs, and because of the breezing wind, the flower fallen and hit it to Mayavati's skin. So Mayavati screamed, and the flower caused a wound on her thigh. And as she was not able to bear the pain, she fainted. So King Yashketu took Queen Mayavati to his palace and treated her wound. So now at the night, King Yashketu was sleeping with his second wife named Queen Taramanthi. So Queen Taramanthi screamed. Now King Yashketu rushed to Queen Taramanthi and he saw that the moon rays which were coming from the windows were hitting on Taramanthi's skin and her skin was burning. So now King Yashketu ordered his maids that take care of Queen Taramanthi. So now one day King Yashketu was with Queen Chandrakala. So they were roaming in their palace, and now Queen Chandrakala fainted. Means Queen Chandrakala screamed. So King Yashketu hurried to her and asked what happened. So King Chandrakala told, "Oh dear king, I am not able to bear this noise. Please stop this." So until she was saying this, she fainted. So now King Yashketu ordered her maids to be with her until she is fully treated. So now he was thinking how delicate my 3 queens are. And Chandrakala, she just fainted because of the noise of the rice pounding. And this night, King Yashketu has to sleep alone. So, I have a question. Who was the most delicate queen?
I know.
Who?
If you already know, don't guess. If you have to guess, then yeah.
Actually, the third one.
I would the flower.
What?
I would go with the queen who was hit with the flower and she got fainted.
I'll go with Mayavati.
I go with the third one. Who could not even hear the sound.
Okay.
Who couldn't bear the moon.
Queen Chandrakala was the right answer.
Oh. Third queen, she is.
I didn't even mute.
You're on mute.
Of rice pounding, whereas Queen Mayavati's flower felt on her skin, and Queen Taramanthi, when she was sleeping, the moon rays hit her skin.
So, what was the who was the right answer?
Third queen, Queen Chandrakala.
Nice story. And that's all the story, or the king also gets fainted after some time.
No, the king was.
I think he should be fainted because how delicate his wives are.
Nice one. Thank you, Ayar. Beautiful story. Yeah, Aditya, want to narrate your story? If you have prepared.
Actually, yes, I have prepared. Wait a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and is my voice audible?
Yes, clear, crystal clear.
Okay. Once upon, actually, the name of the story is The Young Prince. I mean, the Young King. Once upon a time, there was a king. He he had one daughter. Actually, it was from very long ago. So, in that time, normally having a son would have been like good, because like the son would have ruled the whole kingdom. So, the whole the whole country was like very sad that she did not have a son. But the king announced a news that her daughter secretly married one ordinary person. The person's identity was unknown, but and they also had one child. But after 1 week of the child, when he was born, he was taken by two men who like gave the child to a like very poor family who lived in the forest. The princess immediately died. Some people said that the princess died because of sadness. Others said that some person poisoned her wine. But the the prince had to spend like lot of time like with in the jungle. He was a shepherd. One day, the king told that they should find his son, like grandson. He sent few servants. The servant went and they found his grandson. So the the young prince was immediately fell in love with all the like art in the king's palace. He used to keep staring at statues and pictures for a very long time. People said that uh, d- art was the only thing he paid most importance in his life. One When he was 16 and the next day was his coronation day, he in the night he was thinking about his uh, coronation staff and like his coronation clothes. So he fell asleep, and in his dream, he had one terrible dream that he was in a very dirty place where it smelled very bad. They Many people were very thin, and their hands were like very wobbly because like of all the work they did. The young prince asked all of one of the worker that, why, what are you doing here? The 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 man said they were working for the king, the future king. They said, then he noticed one cloak, and he was a little bit scared. And then the man said, who are you? Are you our master's spy? And then he continued, for the future king we make wine, but he drinks it. And we like give him food, give he eats the food while we work in the fields. He is one person like all of us, but he just wears more beautiful clothes. But then he asked, what a beautiful cloak, who is it for? The king. Then he shouted and he woke up. Then he saw the yellow moon, and then he slept again. And in his second dream, he was on a boat. He saw many slaves were being like they were getting many people were hitting the slaves with leashes, and one captain was there. He had silver earring and he wore a turban. But afterwards, when they finally reached the land, the captain ordered some men, to throw one person in the sea with a rock tied to him, and he also threw a ladder. They threw the man, and he used to keep on coming back with a very beautiful pearl. In the end of the day, he was very tired but and exhausted. And then he was holding a pearl as bright and beautiful as the moon, but his nose and ears were covered with blood. Then, because of how weak that man became, the young man became, he fell down. And then the captain he took the the pearl from the young man's hand, and then he ordered the slave to throw him in the sea because he had died. The prince was shocked, and because he knew that it was being made for his own, like a staff or scepter. So he woke up again with a scream. He saw the stars and he slept back again. He slept, but this time in his dream, he was in a forest with beautiful and venomous flowers and many snakes. He saw many people were working. They were digging and breaking rocks and soil. Then he saw there was in one small cave, there was death and greed. So Death said to Greed, "Give me 1/3 of your men." Greed said, "No, these are all my men." The Death was very angry. So he asked Greed what was in its hand. Greed's hand. Greed said that it was 3 pieces of corn. Death said, "Give me 1 piece of corn so I can plant it." Greed said, "Never." Death called Fever, and Fever touched 1/3 of the Greed's men, and then 1/3 of them died. Then uh, Death asked Greed that give me one of the seed. Greed said, "Never." This time Death was very angry, so he called in plague, and like all the men died. So all the people died. They were all slaves. And so Greed ran away, and Death also went away. Then he woke up, and he knew what they were searching for. They were searching for rubies for his crown. And then he woke up, and that time it was the sun came out. Then one of his servants came and was giving him all his clothes. So like his staff and his cloak and one of his crown. The young prince said, "No, I don't want them." But the slave said, "No, you have to wear this, or else no one will recognize who you are." But then the young prince told his dream to the slave. The slave said, "Forget your dream. Today you will become the king." So, but the prince wore his old shepherd dress and a shepherd's staff. And then his slave asked, but then his slave was about to ask, like, "But why are you wearing this?" But then he wore a bush of thorns on his head, and he said, "This will be my crown." Then he went on outside, and he was about to go to the cathedral, but the soldiers asked, "Hey, who are you?" And then he said, "I am the prince." But the bishop said, "But where are your king's clothes. He said, I came here like this and I will be a king like this. But then the young king told the story to the bishop. The bishop said that, sorry, there's nothing you can do about it. Then he said that there'll always be pirates, beggars, and thieves. And as soon as he was about to he went inside the cathedral where he was about to be made the king. But then all the people of the kingdom came with sharp swords and knives too, and they were shouting, we must kill this king because he is more like a beggar than a king. They were shouting. But then he saw a picture of God and he started praying in his mind. Then suddenly some light shone on him, and his cloak was made out of sunlight, and his staff was made out of the whitest of lilies, and the crown he had, which were thorns, got turned into the most red roses. Then all the people knelt down to him, and then the bishop said, he has been made king by someone greater than me. And then lot of music started playing and voices started singing. No one dared to look at his face because he had the face of an angel. The end.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you so much. It's a really long story. Yes, Saran.
Aditya, what is the moral?
Moral, Harshit, every story doesn't need to have a moral. Prati story moral undakarla. Okay, Bahubali moral undi. Moral undakarla. Okay, na? Okay. Saran, sorry. Please continue.
Okay, sir.
Just a minute. Am I visible and audible, uncle?
Yes, Saran.
So, this story takes place in a desert. Just a small story. There were two friends walking in a desert, through a desert, and they had an argument, and one bit the other, slapped on the other's face. The friend who got slapped just didn't react anything and just wrote on the sand, today my best friend slapped me on my face. They walked on, and they found an oasis. They just wanted to take a bath, and yeah, they just went to bath. And the friend who got slapped just got stuck in a mire. The friend who slapped just helped him, and the friend who got saved didn't even react again. He wrote on a rock, today my best friend saved my life. The other one asked, when I pet you, you wrote on the sand, but when I saved you, wrote on the wall. Why? The other one replied, when someone hurts you, you must write it on sand, as winds of forgiveness just blows it away. But when someone does something good to you, you must engrave it on a stone, like no wind comes and takes away something engraved on a stone. That's it.
I'm sure there must be some moral to this.
Yes. Don't value things you have in your life. Value who you have in your life.
Nice. Good, good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Tinika, you want to say something? Just kidding. Aditi, you want to say something or sing something or play something? No, that's fine. Okay, then now Rishita will narrate a story. The tiger who came to tea. Okay, Rishi, continue.
The title of my story is
No.
The Tiger Who Came to Tea.
They can't read. I don't know.
It will be mirroring. This is one of the must read for children. So, once upon a time lived a little girl called Sophie with her mom and dad. Every day, her father would go out in the morning and return at 7 in the evening, and her mother and her would have a perfect day every day. One such day, she and her mother were having tea. The doorbell rang. Sophia and her mother started thinking, who could it be? It couldn't be the milkman because he came in the morning. It couldn't be the grocer boy because this wasn't his day to come. It couldn't be daddy because he had his key. So they decided to open and see who it was. Little Sophie walked up to the door and opened the door. And who did she? A huge furry stripy tiger.
Mm.
The tiger spoke in an apologetic and polite tone. I'm sorry to disturb you, but I'm very hungry. Could you share your tea with me? Sophie told her mother who it was. Her mother said, sure, Mr. Tiger, come in. So the tiger came in. He looked very hungry. So Sophie's mother held out a plate of sandwiches to him and said, would you like a sandwich? The tiger didn't eat one sandwich. He ate all the sandwiches. But he still looked hungry. So Sophie held out a plate of buns to him and said, would you like a bun? And the tiger ate all the buns on the plate. And all the biscuits and all the cake. But he still did not look satisfied. So Sophie's mother offered him some tea and said, would you like some tea? The tiger drank all the tea and all the milk. And then looked around the kitchen to see what else was there. He ate all the things that mummy was cooking for dinner in the saucepans. He drank all the milk in the cupboard and all the juice. He ate everything that was in the fridge and cupboard and ladder. Emptied all the cans and packets. He even drank all the water from the tank. And then he came to Sophie and her mom and said, thanks for the delicious tea. I loved it. And walked out of the door. Sophie's mother was so shocked. The tiger had eaten every single thing that was in the house. Now daddy would come home to find nothing to eat. Just then daddy walked in. He said, oh, what is this? Why is the kitchen this much mess? Then they told him, the tiger came to tea and did this. Daddy said, okay, I have a great idea. Put on your coats, we'll go out to eat.
Mhm.
They went out to a restaurant, ate to their fill, and then they went to shopping to buy more things. They bought beans and sugar and flour and all the things they would need. And they also bought a big can of tiger food in case the tiger ever came back. But he never did.
Nice story, Rishita. Thank you so much. Yes, I think with that we have come to an end. Yeah, Manasa, I know you said like you won't, you are not prepared, but courtesy wise, I'm asking. You want to tell something?
I'm not prepared this week as I told. Next week for sure.
You don't have to. That's fine. So yeah. So now I think Mansa and Hanisha, you both are like the eldest here. So now we have been doing this SEM session, storytelling sessions for like 5 years now, on and off, on and off. So now I want to start something like where people listen. I'm sure most of these kids are not listening to what the stories are being told here, right? So to improve the listening skills, what can we do? Any suggestions you both have? I mean, not only you, others also can suggest, but you two are the eldest here. So
Ask some questions in between of every story so that they will listen to answer the question.
they just will not answer.
Actually, I think not many children are coming now. That actually, I think this is the time where people normally go outside. So we should choose a little bit better time where we feel like every single person is free and is staying in home, so we can have the maximum stories like that. So it will be a little more interesting.
So what time do you suggest? Do you have in mind?
Actually, I don't know. But any time which is perfect will be there. Any perfect time. Well, everyone is free.
That's what, right? Everybody is not free. For example, I generally prefer the kids to go out and play. Okay?
Yeah, few times they also stay at home na, and they have nothing to do na. At that time, normally which is the most time where they have nothing else to do except for sit or watch TV that time.
Yeah, what is your best time? So when is the time where you don't do anything and for something?
I've got an idea. We will can you please send which time are you all free? Any of you free? Like that? Which the most number of people whoever will say the most number of people who are free at a certain time, that time we will do.
Aditya, that's a good idea. Why don't you take the lead and put the same point what you just told me in the SEM community, and let's see what response do we get. Can you take that ownership?
Okay, I'm just going I'm going to ask when are you free, and the maximum people who are free at this one time will be the time where we have SEM classes, SEM community.
Sure. So I want you to take the ownership and collect this data. Okay. As a community, I'm okay. I mean, generally, I don't want to keep it from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock because I myself play cricket, so I want the kids also to go out and play. Okay. So
I'm saying whenever they will stay at home and they have nothing to do.
Yeah, so you take the ownership and circulate this in the community, and let's see who answers this. Okay. Accordingly, we will change the timings, which suits most people. Okay.
Actually, every week we will have every week this will be there. There will be some kind of vote because few times the time can be changed, na. So every week we'll have this. Not only for 1 week for all the time, not that, but for before every session that will come.
Sure, yeah. So let's do this for the next session, which we will have on 24th. Okay, 17th we are taking off again because of Dussehra. So we'll have it on 24th. So you take the ownership and you circulate this message. I will also support you. Okay. Now I think Anisha has some points to tell.
Yes, I did. So basically, to improve the listening skills, what Aditya said was completely right. There should be a proper timing so that your full concentration is into the meeting. There's no more other things going on. But actually, like, see, I noticed that if, like, in my Gavel sessions and Toastmaster sessions, I see that if someone keeps going on and on and on about something, like if the speaker keeps going on and on about a topic, it gets boring eventually. So you can't blame the listener there. But say, example, if there's any speech. So to improve the listening skills, people have to ask questions and say the exam. Let me give the example of you, for example, sir. If you are hosting the session, then after every speaker, you can ask one of us to visualize what the speaker said, or maybe summarize what the speaker said, because that will help this. That will, create something that between the audience, that who is sir gonna ask? Like if he's gonna ask me, then I have to be ready. So something like that. And people have to ask questions. Okay, so the speaker has to be interactive. If the speaker is not interactive, then there's basically no use of speaking, because an interactive session is the best. So yeah, the listeners have to ask questions, speaker has to be interactive, take pauses, maintain eye contact. I mean, we can't do that virtually, but yeah, those are just some points what we can do.
Thank you, thank you. But here, what you said makes sense. But Toastmasters, we have like audience above like 18 or plus, right? So, but here we have a UKG kid, you have a 10th class kid. You see the difference, right? There's a big difference. But yes, whatever you make it interactive.
Interactive.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Interaction is the
like Ian did, right?
yes.
Oh, he's not around. He left. Okay. So like Ian did. So something like that would be good.
Something like that.
Yeah. Sure. Point taken. I think the ones who are narrating should take that ownership.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sir, but actually few times like people can few times like get bored because of too many questions, na? So like few times we should not ask, few times we should ask. So we should keep it like totally randomized.
Yeah, that is up to you. So basically the point here is when you're talking, you have to make the audience interesting, glued to you. Okay. Sometimes what the storytellers do is they narrate, for example, the stories for 10 minutes, they narrate for 3 minutes. In between, they do some kind of some kind of music, or sometimes something they do in between to make it again get the attention back.
You have to keep the audience at the edge of their seats so that they remain focused.
Yes.
That's very important.
You narrated a long story, so in between you have to get the interest of the audience back to you. I mean, the teachers also do this. I mean, every 15 minutes, 10 minutes, they tell something about something out of the boring region. They go out and come back again. Good teachers do that. Not all teachers. Yes. So it is up to you to say that.
Yes, uncle. We can't say that even every part of the story is very interesting. Yeah, cracking jokes in between, just having small interacting sessions will make.
Yes. So I would like you guys to implement at least few of these points and implement that from the next time you narrate something. Right? It could be any question. Right? I have a physics teacher in my school. What he used to do is, physics says sometimes it gets boring. I mean, you get to that mode. Sometimes he used to come and he just clap like this. That's all in class, and everybody's like, "Okay, wake up from sleep." Okay, something. Yeah. Yes. Mansa, you have something to add?
Sir, actually, when our offline classes in Ramnath Secondary School, like few times when our sirs or teachers would randomly clap whenever they thought that some children are not paying attention, they would randomly clap.
Good. You can also do that. You can just get up This is the point here is to grab the audience back to you again. Oh, this guy is doing something. What is he doing? That's all. You got your audience back. You see what they're doing? That's all. Yeah, thank you. Mansa, you want to add something?
I think everybody has told the point that will make the session more better. Just that, as you said, it should be interactive, and again, as Aditya had told, it should not be too many questions so that people will even get bored of the questions. So I remember you telling me about, I think, an African woman who had narrated a story in Vizag Literary Fest and how she started singing. And
Yes.
I think Janaki, her name, she started singing about budgies and like that. So
Yes.
if we just, try to get the audience, catch the audience attention either by singing, by cracking jokes or whatever is your medium and you feel free through, then you can just, gather all the audience attention. That's the only point.
Now we have to follow that, right? So next time anyone tells some, I'll try to narrate a story on 24th again. So I'll try to implement certain things. In fact, when I narrate a story, I would ask the kids right here. So when, for example, Rishta told a story about tiger. So tiger, what does a tiger do? What does a tiger do? Dhruvan is saying something, but he's sleepy. Something like that. So yeah.
I'd also like to add one more thing. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Maybe we could make the session more interactive, make it a little more funny by one of us being a joke master. Maybe like a riddle master, or maybe just someone. Like, say for example, me. Today I'm the joke master, so I'll be narrating a few jokes to you guys. Just between every speech, not between every speech, after every speech. So in between the sessions, I'll keep saying a little bit some jokes. So, I can just grab the audience attention back to the session if they get distracted. So jokes, riddles, anything of that sort. Maybe a poem.
Yeah, we keep to one riddle, but many jokes. Anyone can volunteer for a joke. But riddle, just keep it to one or two, but jokes, yes.
Yeah, and then not just jokes, maybe riddles, maybe news also, like around the world, what's happening.
News
informative.
I mean, for you it is okay, but for others, I don't think news is bad.
Yeah.
That's the problem we have, so UKG too.
But you get my point, right? What I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I understood. Yeah. But jokes, definitely, yes. We used to have these jokes sometimes. Riddhi, Rishita, Aditi used to narrate these jokes.
Right.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank
Uncle,
you so much.
Just a small point to add. Many kids like correcting others. So after every story or narration, we can ask any opinions. You see, kids' opinions on it, any changes, any corrections like that. They get more interesting the way it gets interacted.
Do you mean like an evaluation?
Yes. Exactly.
Right. So I think maybe we should tell the good parts and the bad parts about the story, so that not to hurt the,
Not everybody takes in the right spirit.
Exactly.
We should also add meters, like how much children like from 1 to 10, 1 to 5, something like that.
Rating, okay. Yeah,
Rating we should also add. So that, for example, if a child gets less rating, so we'll tell him to do try to make the story a little bit better, so that other children, we have to tell how we feel. We should not hide them, or else few times we'll get very bored and we won't pay attention at all.
It's a great idea, but Aditya, but not everyone will take it lightly. Some will get hurt.
We should tell them
yes,
how to improve it, where to improve.
Yes.
That I'm saying that. How should we improve it? How should they improve it? How can we improve it? We can ask.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. But the problem where it comes to small kids, is they start to compare. He got 9, I got only 6. Like that.
So let's not get into marks. This is not school. But again, think through these guys. Next session we will come up with something solid, and we will fix that, and we'll follow that for the next couple of sessions. Okay?
Can I add a point?
Yes, Manasa. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, so as I'm not sure who told, but yeah, as one of us had mentioned about adding a point, now, and Aditya said that it's about rating, but I'm not objecting Aditya's point, but the thing is, not many times it's a story by on our own, so we can't generally, modify. So what we can do is, like, suppose Rishita had told the story of tiger to TT. So if I feel ki, like this concept or idea could also be added to this, it would be great. It would be more interesting if this part is also added. Then our opinions can be considered. Like, adding to the author's story, this can also be added. Removal is something that we can't judge because it's something that someone has written, be it on your own or be it by some writer. So adding is the thing that we can do with our own imagination and creativity. So if we
Yeah,
feel like,
good, continue.
yeah, so that's what. If we feel that something can be added, not making it too long, we can just add that and we can tell the addition of the story. So that's what I felt. Then everybody will be attracted to see if we can add anything. That's the
Oh,
thing.
that's a really good idea, man. So maybe one session, maybe we keep a time for like 10-15 minutes and we narrate a story in the session itself. Like somebody will tell something and the next sentence will be told by somebody else, like this.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah, we will see
yeah,
what
that's a good idea.
that's a good idea. That's a good idea. The participation also improves. Let's try
Yeah.
and yeah. Thank you. So I have one final request from all of you. If possible, can you all switch on the video? I'll just would like to take a photo of my screenshot to save it as this is our 5th anniversary, right? So Rishi, come here. If possible, please switch on the video. Riddhi, Aditi, bye. Oh. Riddhi? Sir, we are just in time. We are taking a final photograph before leaving. Wonderful. Riddhi is not around? Oh, Aditi, Riddhi is not around? Sir, mute lo unnaru meer vinpatla. You are on mute.
Yes, uncle.
Video pet. Sir, you are on mute, sir. You are saying something.
Technologically illiterate. Now I have unmuted myself. I was mentioning Aditi, Harshet, Venkateshwarlu mane ye kone apna. These are our singer friend. And then Anisha, Sri Manasa, wow. Aditya and 2 others. SEM community. I see Rishita somewhere in the shadows. All of you, good evening. Love you all. Good. Many happy returns of the day.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Now, all of you
Conclude. You can conclude.
Post to the camera. Dhruvan Srinika. Dhruvan Srinika are missing. Srinika. Photo, last photo will leave. Okay, I know it's late. Okay, all of you say cheese, smile. One more. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Happy anniversary to all of us.
Bye. Good luck.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
All the very best. All the very best, Surya.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, uncle. Bye, uncle.
Bye. We'll leave. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Diti. Bye, Sharman.